The true meaning of trust in Allah, heart-touching Islamic story. Imagine losing everything, your money, your job, your dignity, and being blamed for something you didn't do. Would you still trust Allah? This is the story of a young man who had nothing but his faith, and through that faith, Allah opened doors beyond imagination. By the end of this video, you will understand the true meaning of tawakkul, trusting in Allah. The story begins on a cold winter night in a small village nestled between the mountains. The stars sparkled above, but in the heart of young Zayd, darkness weighed heavily. He sat by the flickering lantern, his hands trembling as he stared at the last few coins lying on the wooden table. His mother was sick, his younger siblings hungry, and the landlord had already warned that if he did not pay rent by the end of the week, they would be thrown out of their small house. Zayd whispered to himself, "What should I do? How will I save my family?" The coins clinked softly, a sound that felt like chains tightening around his soul. He remembered the advice of the village people. Work harder, borrow money, beg if you have to. But then he remembered the words of his late father, a man of deep faith. Zayd, when the world closes its doors, look up to the heavens. Trust in Allah, for He is enough. That night, Zayd fell asleep with tears in his eyes, his heart heavy, but his lips whispering, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs. The next morning, he rose early and went to the masjid. The imam gave a khutbah that shook his heart. He spoke of a hadith. If you were to rely upon Allah with true reliance, He would provide for you as He provides for the birds. They go out in the morning with empty stomachs and return full. These words pierced through his despair. He thought, if Allah provides for the birds, won't He provide for me and my family? Strengthened by this reminder, Zayd made a decision. He would put his full trust in Allah. He had no plan, no guarantee of success, but his heart was firm that Allah would never abandon him. With faith as his provision, he walked towards the town. Along the way, he saw a merchant struggling to lift a heavy sack. Without hesitation, Zayd rushed to help him. The merchant was surprised and grateful. "Young man, you are strong and kind. I need a helper in my shop. Would you work for me?" Zayd's eyes widened. Subhanallah, the very first act of kindness opened a door of risk. Days passed, and Zayd worked honestly in the shop. The merchant paid him fairly, and with that money, he bought medicine for his mother and food for his siblings. Yet trials did not end. One evening, thieves raided the shop. Zayd tried to defend it, but they overpowered him and stole a large amount of goods. The merchant was devastated and accused Zayd of negligence. "You were supposed to guard the shop. Now I am ruined." Zayd's heart broke. He had been loyal, yet now he was blamed. People in the town whispered against him. He was fired and left without work again. That night, Zayd sat alone under the stars. He cried and prayed, "Ya Allah, I trusted you. Why is this happening?" But as his tears flowed, he remembered the Quran. "And whosoever puts his trust in Allah, then He will suffice him. Indeed, Allah will accomplish His purpose." Surah At-Talaq 65:3. He realized that trust in Allah is not only when life is easy, but when everything seems to fall apart. It means believing that Allah's plan is better, even when it hurts. Zayd wiped his tears and said, "I will keep trusting you, my Lord." The next morning, a traveler passed through the village. He saw Zayd helping an old man carry water. The traveler was impressed by his humility and strength. He asked, "Young man, will you guide me to the next city? I will pay you well." Zayd agreed. This journey changed everything. On the way, the traveler saw Zayd's honesty and faith. When they reached the city, the traveler revealed that he was a wealthy scholar looking for a trustworthy assistant to manage his affairs. He said, "I have met many people, but your heart is pure. Work with me, and I will take care of your family." Zayd fell in sujud, his tears soaking the ground. Allah had tested him with loss, humiliation, and hardship, only to raise him higher than he ever imagined. With the scholar's support, Zayd was able to bring his family to the city, where they lived with dignity. He spent his days serving, learning, and helping the poor, always remembering the lesson Allah taught him. True trust in Allah is not just believing he will give you what you want. It is surrendering to his will, knowing that what he chooses is always best. Years later, Zayd became known as a man of wisdom. When people asked him the secret of his success, he would smile and say, "When I had nothing, I had Allah. When I lost everything, I still had Allah. And when I put my trust in him, he gave me more than I ever dreamed." And so, the boy who once had only a few coins and heavy tears became a shining reminder for his community that tawakkul, trust in Allah, is not weakness, but the greatest strength a believer can have. My brothers and sisters, this story reminds us that when the world abandons us, Allah never does. Put your trust in him, and you will see miracles. If this story touched your heart, don't let it stop here. Share it so others can also find strength in their darkest times. Subscribe to Deen in Minute for more heart-touching stories that revive your faith. Let's spread the beauty of Islam together.